We didn't win the AFCON, but I think we'll just make do with this one. Ademola, Lookman, Chiamaka, Nadozie, Super Falcons, even other Super Eagles players getting awards yesterday or being named in the Team of the Year. So I think the year is ending on a good note for us. But it's important to walk through that moment, maybe walk backwards, more importantly, walk forward and look at what the future holds. How do we replicate more of Ademola, Lookman's, more of Nadozie and the rest? We're joined on the program as we bask in that euphoria by our very own Austin Okon Akpan, Channels TV correspondent. He's live for us in London, as well as a sports broadcaster, also our very own Toyin Ibitoye. Gentlemen, welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thank you, guys. Good morning.
Let me just ask, did you catch a good sleep, or was it celebration all night for you, Austin?
You could see, like, when I saw Patrick's call, I was like, oh my goodness, it's morning already in Nigeria. Because I was still awake till about 3 a.m., doing production as regards Ademola Lookman's victory. So good for football in Nigeria, taking over from his compatriot, Victor Osimhen. Just to think about it, that the last time we won before Victor did was Victor Ikpeba in 1997. I was in 1999, Kanu Wankwo, and now we are getting to do this thing again and again. So I was like, oh, this is so good for football in Nigeria, so let's celebrate it. Sometimes you need to celebrate your small wins so that people around you will know that you're coming out big time.
I mean, I like the way you take us back memory lane, and I strongly believe they robbed Okocha of that award. I think Okocha should have gotten that award at some point. But Toyin, for you, when you saw that victory, was it like an inevitable moment for you, or you still had doubts? Maybe, maybe not.
I mean, clearly, it was very clear that the best African footballer in the year under review is Ademola Lookman. If you look at what he was able to do for club, what he was able to do for country, so I had no doubt that he was the man for the award. But these awards are vote-based, so they are more like some form of election. Sometimes your best candidate may not win an election if those who are voting decide to vote the other way. So I had a little bit of doubt, particularly when I started seeing the Moroccan, Hakimi, coming in with a private jet from Paris, coming with the owner of his club. I started to have a little feeling that would you go through all of that if you were not assured of the victory. But on the balance of what he was able to do for his club, what he was able to do in the green and white of Nigeria, Ademola Lookman was head and shoulders above the rest. So it was not a surprise, but I had a little bit of doubts, a little bit towards it's normal. When the winner is about to be called, you are asking, could they have voted along this line, So, but at the end of the day, I'm happy. It's deserved. Well deserved.
Okay, Austin, I had no doubt. Mr. Ibitoye, I had no doubts. They had to give him, or they had to give him, or they had to give him. there are no way. Because I've been campaigning and I've been waiting for this moment because, of course, you saw what he did. Lookman has been incredible himself, perhaps surprised at how he's risen so fast. But let me bring you, Austin. What does this do to our football? How do we build from this? Because now, the term we use, we have done it back-to-back, undisputed best on the continent. Where do we build from here?
Very, very important question, Geoffrey. You see, our leaders, I say it all the time, particularly when Victor Osimhen won, like, what have we done with that? Particularly that we had waited for so long before he did. And just to go back a bit, you wouldn't blame Toyin for his cynicism because this thing is abracadabra. It's just one announcement, and then you find out that we're leaving that hall, with our hands on our cheeks. That it happened to Mikel, it happened to Okocha. So this time around, with everything look, the good thing about this win is that Ademola Lookman was so consistent from winning from the AFCON final to the Europa League final to the current form that he is at the moment. NFF, now you have the African Player of the Year back to back. It tells you that maybe talent isn't our problem. Maybe it's a bit of administration that we just need to find out ways that we can jump on stuff, and use it to, particularly build at the grassroots, inspire young talents. For instance, listen to the speech of Ademola Lookman. He was already using that platform to inspire lives when he told them, use your pain, to turn your pain to your power and continue to fly. You would be shocked how far those words would go to inspire young persons. NFF, look at the story of Ademola Lookman. Tell a beautiful story that will inspire young people. I've been to Waterloo, where he started here in England, as a little boy. And he was so ambitious. Every young coach that I've spoken to that Ademola Lookman passed through said they knew he was going to be this sort of player because he was someone who understood dedication, sacrifice, commitment, and you can tell in his professional football. So I think the NFL should sit down and tell a beautiful story from this, package him in a way that they can even use Ademola Lookman to get some level of support and sponsorship for football in Nigeria.
So, Mr. Ibitoye, it was also a good night for Nigerian female football yesterday. Looking at the categories, Namaka Nadozie representing well, and even the Super Falcons team. But help us understand the sentiment, particularly when you look at that category that Chiamaka won. The other female goalkeepers also come with some very good skills, and considering also that the Super Falcons had some down times during the year, so are there some sentiments that are like, oh no, perhaps the wins should have gone to other teams?
Okay, without a doubt, Chiamaka is Africa's best. In fact, Chiamaka goes beyond the African story. She's one of the best in the world, and she plays regularly in the Women Champions League, where she's instrumental to our club, Paris FC, being always campaigning for the title. Saving penalties, incredible saves, both for the club and for the national team. So without a doubt, none of the goalkeepers mentioned comes close or could even put a candle to what Chiamaka Nadozie has been able to do. Not just this year. You heard her talk about winning it last year. She's been very consistent. She's clearly head and shoulders above the rest in that category. And that's why she also came a close second for the main award, which is the Women Footballer of the Year. So there was no fear about Chiamaka's victory. She's been good. If you followed the Super Falcons year in, the last couple of years, you know the number of times our heroics has kept us in the game, has helped us to win games, has pushed us on. We qualified for the Olympics for the first time in about 16 years. She was at the center of it. So without any doubt, Chiamaka's victory is deserved. And our dominance in women's football has been there for so many decades. Our worry now is how to keep up that momentum. You don't stop, because a lot of other countries are also beginning to invest in the women's game, and they're really closing in on us. South Africa, Morocco, Zambia, that produced the Women Footballer of the Year for the first time, by Banda, are also closing in on us. They were at the last Olympics. They were at the Olympics before that one. So a lot of other countries are beginning to invest in the women's game, and the dominance that we used to enjoy, where we used to trash teams 7, 8, 9-0, it's no longer there. Now we win by the odd goal, 1, 2, at most 3. So it shows that yes, we've done well to have maintained that level of dominance, but we still have to do a lot more if we want to keep winning, keep churning out talent on a regular basis.
Because what you find is a tendency to now hold on to this win as some sort of pass mark. You see, we're doing great stuff, so the administrators will tell you, don't say we're not doing well. Look at Ademola Lookman, look at Nadozie and the rest. So as much as we celebrate this, we don't want to make this, give us some sort of false feeling of what the reality is. And I'm glad we're speaking to that. So we've always lagged behind in some sense, right? And I think maybe this might encourage administrators, government to do more. So Austin, let me come to you now. I'd like us to speak to specifics. We'll look at what the budget has for sports funding when it is presented eventually. But if you were to have a sit down with sports administrator all the way up, because I know the president will be interested, he will congratulate Ademola Lookman and stuff. What would you be telling them, Austin?
I'll continue from where I stopped the last time, Kayode. I'll say, go back and find out how Ademola Lookman started with his football. Go and see the level of support, the level of planning, deliberate planning, which tells you that, look, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? I'll tell them, look, everybody jumps up and admires a building, forgetting that it started from sketches, from drawings, which is very important, it's pivotal, and it's missing in our sports, not just football in Nigeria. We just want consumption, go to competitions. Let's produce more Ademola Lookman. And let's be careful, I'll tell them, don't start singing and dancing. This is not really your product. It is England that produced this guy. It's because of his love for the motherland. That's why he's playing for Nigeria today and doing it so well. So I'll tell them, we go back to the basics. Kayode, back in the day when we had the academicals, the principal corps, God bless his soul, Coach Stephen Keshi, the late Coach Stephen Keshi was brought out from St. Finbar's College. They used to go to the schools to pick talent. I think we need to go back. It's good now. I love the mandates that Mr. President has given to the National Sports Commission. It says build a sports economy. But how do you build a sports economy? First, you need to invest. And then, like a farmer, you water. Because now you've planted. You water, you put things into it, and now you expect to, reap what you sow. Because you definitely reap what you sow. Invest in young talents. Invest, just as Tony said, we need to invest more in the women's game because they always turn up for us all the time, but they don't get the sort of attention that they deserve. We also need to pay more attention, Kayode, to infrastructure. Infrastructure development is very, very important. And lastly, kill all form of corruption with our sports because sports isn't leisure, it's big business. In Europe, where I am now, you can see the way they are even finding ways to put Ademola Lookman into the conversation because they will look for a market inside this wing. That's how much they are working. So sports is serious business, and for us to achieve that economy, we must see it as that, treat it as that, and protect that business environment.
All right, Mr. Ibitoye, your last take on this one. I know you have a front seat in this particular one. I haven't worked with the Super Eagles, and I know you've seen a couple of how these things play out. So what should we be doing, maybe picking back from what Austin has said?
Absolutely. I mean, Austin has said so much. This is an individual award. We shouldn't forget. It is an individual award. It's more on what an individual has been able to achieve for himself that is rubbing off on Nigeria, although you could say Nigeria gave him the platform. Last year, it was Victor Osimhen. Now it's Ademola Lookman. We are never short on talents. That's one. We always have talents. What we do with the talents that we have is a different story altogether. So as we said, it's important for us to begin to invest on grassroots sports. That's very key, so that you are able to identify these talents. There's talent everywhere. My boss, the former Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare, would always say, the gold is in the child. Every child has got the potential to win gold, to get to the top, very top of whatever career they choose, if they are discovered quite early and they are nurtured and exposed and supported to get to the highest level. So that's what we need to do. Invest, as Austin said, in the grassroots, schools, streets, take care of out-of-school children, provide opportunity for them to get facilities to earn their skills, and then draw up programs that will allow them to rise to the top get exposed, and then you push them out to international limelight. So these are the things that's the heavy lifting of sports, investing in the grassroots, discovering these talents from early on in their life, and providing that pathway through which they grow from the cradle to the podium. That's the heavy lifting. And if we are able to get that right, we will take our place of pride in terms of being a powerhouse in sports, not just in Africa, but globally.
Very instructive words. So again, while we celebrate that individual win or those individual wins, we have to do the collective work. We'd like to thank you so much, Tony Ibitoye, sports broadcaster, as well as Austin Okon, Akpan, Channel CV correspondent. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll take a moment now, and when we return, we've come full circle on this next conversation. On the 1st of January this year, an announcement was made right here on the Morning Brief for a series which is getting so much accolade now on Netflix. We have 2 special guests joining us. Yeah, 7 doors, that's the clue. So stay with us right here. It's a Morning Brief.